Hello friends, this is Akulmach live and I am Chandrakant. Last week we had a very important guest on our show, Mr. Mike Bradley, and he told us about 5 C's of doing business. Today he is also joining us back again on the series of programs that we are doing with Mike, which is how to have a pragmatic approach towards partnership, especially now the subject is very relevant. So folks, don't go anywhere. I will be taking a short break and will join back along with my guest in a moment. Welcome back, friends, and I'm very pleased to invite our guest today, Mr. Mike Bradley, who joins us from UK, and we will continue our discussion from last week, which was around pragmatic approach towards partnership. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chandra. Good to speak to you again. And how are you surviving the monsoon rains?
Well, it is fine now. It was pretty bad last week, but it is mellowed down a bit. I think business as usual now. Although clouds are there, it's raining continuously, but it's not so hard.
Oh, that's good news. That's always better. Better than the other option.
Well, we discussed the 5 C's last week, and today our viewers would like to know 4 P's of a pragmatic approach. So we are waiting to hear from you. What are the pillars of having the best partnership approach when we go out and do business?
Okay. So last week we talked about the 5 C's for how you identify the correct partners to work with, be they joint ventures, resellers, agents, etc. We said it had to be complementary, cultural fit, communication had to be right, contacts are right, clients are right, and the sixth in brackets C was charm. It's always good to sort of build on the relationship side of working together. So this week I thought what would be better is, having identified those partners, we then have to work with them in a practical way that is effective. And I believe to do that efficiently, you need to have a structured approach to how you present and propose your solutions, because otherwise everything that you do, you'll be reinventing the wheel, which is inefficient and ultimately becomes ineffective. Because what you also have to do is you have to go through the process either as a vendor, you have to actually put the pitch together and present the pitch for the client, or you have to enable them to put their label on it, their branding, and send that out to their customer. But it needs to have your message and your solution properly identified. Because whether we like it or not, when partners have got a lot of products to sell, they are not going to be able to present your product in the way that you can present it. So it's important you give them the tools and the information in a way that they can actually do that for you, and eventually become, through a trainer approach, they can do it themselves. So it's very much a stepped process, I think. The 4 P's then are, first one, pedigree. So it's very important that we start with having a start in any presentation or proposal saying why we are good at what we do. What's our track record? How have we come to be where we are? A bit of background, why you can trust us as a vendor. So the pedigree is very important, the experience and the credibility that puts the vendor in a good, strong position to supply the customer. The second one is portfolio. So in other words, what is your product? Why is it important? And how is it going to help and benefit the client? So how does it help and benefit the partner, and also onwards to the end user who's going to be signing up with the vendor? So portfolio, of course, is very important. Third P is plan of action. And here I think it's very important that you have two crucial elements. Particularly within SaaS products, but in fact for any product, the use, tell, sell tell, use approach, which basically means if you're trying to sell to an end user a vendor product, that end user, if they've got any common sense, is going to say, well, do you use the product yourself? And if the answer to that question is no, then it doesn't actually reinforce much confidence that actually, well, this is the product I need to buy then. So the first thing you must do in that plan of action is make sure that you and your partners are using your own product, because otherwise it lacks credibility. But once you're using it, of course, your client is going to, or then your salespeople, your partner is going to be able to tell people about it because they've got first-hand experience and knowledge of it. So when somebody is telling someone that this is how we used it, this is what we gained from it, this is the benefits, this is how we get our return on it, then I think you've got a very credible story. So there's the use, the tell, and of course, when they've understood how beneficial it is, then they're going to say to you, how much does it cost me to buy it? And you sell the product. Now, if you've got an online service model, the next point is they bought the product. Now you've got to tell them how to optimize and use the product, because that will in turn reduce the amount of churn and ensure the maximum retention and return to the end user. So use, tell, sell, tell, use is a vital part of the plan of action. The other part of the plan of action is, of course, the 4 Ps, the traditional 4 Ps of marketing. What is the product for this particular solution for this client? How is it going to be put into how's it going to be placed into their environments? What is the pricing? And how are they going to internally promote the use of it across their user base, across their partner? So the 4 Ps within the context of partnership is very important. And then finally, so we've got pedigree, we've got portfolio, we've got plan of action, which is tailored to the prospect. And finally, we've got provisioning. Because once we've got the order, we then have to ensure that all the other I's are dotted and T's are crossed. What's the service level agreement? What's the customer support arrangement? What's the provisioning mechanism? How's the rollout due to happen? What's the operational play for invoicing and payment? All of those elements need to be in the pitch and the proposal, whether it be to the partner or to their end user. Without all of those elements in place, there's going to come a point where either a deal is not going to be able to be closed, or the deal is going to be closed and not going to be able to be delivered, or worst of all, there's going to be gross disappointment in the partner and the end user because it isn't going to work properly. So those are the 4 Ps.
Excellent explanation, Mike. I think these are very, very vital for any business. I think you put it very nicely. But I also feel that people needs to do little bit training around this, because many people, even though they may know about it, they might have studied in their school, but they don't know how to implement in real life scenario. So I think there is a need for some sort of training provided to entrepreneurs today. Do you have a suggestion for how people can get trained on these 4 Ps?
Well, yes, I do. In fact, I put together a program along the lines of this several years ago for the Growth Accelerator program that the UK government had for how to help companies grow. So I have the material ready and can very easily put together an online training session, which would be charged at a per head basis, or could be done on an exclusive company basis. And we would go into more detail around these areas and come up with actions and actual activities that will enable the attendee to go away with a sensible plan of action to move forward and optimize their partnering. So yes, thank you for that question. And of course, I would be remiss for saying, we can make that available on the Scale Up Arena learning and training page, so that people can actually optimize this, sign up for it, and then optimize their joint venturing and partnering activities.
Actually, in terms of training, there are a lot of traction going on right now, because what used to work 2 years back is not working anymore. So people might have got experience of 20 years or 30 years of networking, but those networks cannot be leveraged at this point in time. So that is why Skillshare and even the LinkedIn training is putting a lot of efforts in building up a portfolio of different training. And that is why I asked, because I think when we talk about these 4 Ps, there are a lot of these training material, but then it is coming from pre-recorded content. So how?
Yeah, very important to have an interactive session.
Okay, so you can provide the interactive session on one-on-one basis, on need basis. How does it work in your case?
I would provide, what I think would be best is to provide a free 1-hour briefing session, which would outline the whole process, give a few hints and tips, go through these 5 Cs and 4 Ps and all the rest of it, 4 pillars. But then I would suggest, if you want to optimize it for your company, that you need to take the fuller, specific course that could be provided online. But I'm quite prepared to say that we will do a 1-hour session for your Akulmach viewers. If they want to do that, they can actually come back to yourselves and say, we'd like to take part in the, what do we call it? The pragmatic approach to partnering seminar, webinar.
Excellent. We will try and see if people are interested. I think this is a very important subject, because many people don't know the reality. They don't know how to, sometimes you have a flair of acquiring customers, but you don't have a flair of retaining it. So I think it should be provided to the new generation entrepreneurs who are now entering the fray. And that is why such trainings are very, very important, Mike.
Yep, I agree. I can, what I can do is provide you with a link with the overview of the course that you could use yourself and push it out as a webinar, a free of charge webinar, but then there'll be a more detailed half day, which will be chargeable.
Excellent, Mike. I think thank you so much for coming over and enlightening our viewers about these hidden aspects of doing business. It's very, very important. And viewers, I think you have any question, any suggestion, you can directly reach out to Mike, or you can reach out to us, and we will make the connection happen. The email will be mentioned at the end of the video, also in the description down below. Mike, coming over and joining us, talking to our viewers today.
No problem. Been a pleasure. That was part 2. And of course, I've got part 3 ready for next week.
We'll be coming with part 3 next week. So viewers, stick around. Next Thursday, we'll be back with Mike.
Superb. Thank you very much, Chandra. Great to chat to you.